Chip leader. On day one, an afterthought. By day two, people pay attention. On day three, everyone knows who's leading the pack. 2 locals and a kid playing in Poker Wonderland.
If you ask my friends from school, that I was probably the last person that they expected to be sitting here.
David Doherty's run has been improbable, but Praz Bonzi has a chance to recapture bracelet glory.
I think for any poker player to win the main event bracelet is just a dream come true. It just feels so long ago that I won my last.
Right now, the top dog is Ian Munns with a huge stack and a hot streak. Is he poised for a deep run? Will tonight be his stepping stone to the bracelet? Who will make the leap? Who will wear the bracelet? Their main event journey continues now.
Helmuth wins the championship.
A look from high above the Thames River in London. Welcome to the World Series of Poker Europe main event day 3. Lon McCarron with Norman Chad. 94 players have survived a treacherous starting field. Tonight we play down to the money bubble at 36.
How's it going?
Okay, it's day 3. I'm chip leader and I can't wait. Have to attack now. 500,000. I've got to go for it. Got to get on that final table today.
We are down to 92 players, and we'll see. Someone has to win, right?
There's no rush to the finish line. These kids are running in here, like getting to their table.
So I've got to go. See?
There's a long way to go to get to the finish, so it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Daniel can relax. He knows what it takes to make the final table here. He did it last year. For the others, a pressure-packed night of poker lies ahead.
1/3 of the remaining field is American. 1/4 of the field is English.
And Norman, the 2 top stacks are here at this featured table. Praz Bonzi in second place with over 314,000. Ian Munns is the man everyone's chasing with almost 524,000. Action on Peter Gould, local part-time pro, king 5 off, and he'll fold that. To our chip leader, the amateur Ian Munns with pocket 7s.
Munn's a guy who works for a research and tech company, and Bonzi to his left once was a recruitment consultant. I think they're both happier here on the felt.
A raise to 4,000 from Munns with his pocket pair. 8-6 of hearts for Bonzi.
Bonzi part of the Hit Squad, the British poker troupe that includes James Aikenhead.
He makes the call for 4,000. American pro Steve Zolotow with Jack Trey into the muck.
Zolotow part of the Zolotow family.
Ace-5 offsuit for Michael Comer, former international poker tournament director. He folds. Over to James Keys, 24-year-old English poker pro. Looks down at Ace-King offsuit in the big blind.
Keys the only person to cash in the first 2 World Series Europe main events. He made the final table in 07.
He went out 9th the year, and at Oberstadt won it, and he's all in for 36,500.
Well, that's pocket change for Munns to call here. Not much more than 5% of his chip stack would be needed.
And he does indeed make that call. Now the action on Bonzi. Does he want to get involved with 8-6 of hearts?
Well, he needs just about 10% of his stack to call, but he doesn't have much of a hand.
He will fold, and so Ian Munns, the chip leader, will try to pick off another player, James Keys. Keys the one looking to improve as Munns' pocket 7s are in the lead right now. Here's the flop. 4 Jack Deuce. That missed Keys, so Munns still ahead with his 2 7s.
Keys goes from a slight underdog pre-flop to about a 3-1 underdog now.
Turn card now. 4 of spades. No help to Keys, and he looks resigned to his fate.
At the top of the screen, you see the out tracker, the 6 outs for Keys to stick around. He needs an ace or a king, or he's done.
River card is a 9, and that will do it. Munns playing his role of chip leader very well, knocking off James Keys.
Lucky, man.
Ian Munns, just 1 tournament cash to his name and looking stronger every moment.
So Munns, the only one over $500,000, gets a little richer here at this featured table as James Keys makes his exit. So a good start to the night for Ian Munns. Let's go up to table 2. Daniel Negreanu sitting up there with almost 117,000 chips.
That's a very smart cap Daniel's wearing. I may have to borrow it.
Men win also at this table.
Second all-time to Phil Hellmuth in World Series cashes.
And there's Leo Margetts.
She was 27th at the 2009 main event in Las Vegas, the last woman standing.
Leo looks down at 610 off into the muck. Daniel with pocket jacks.
Actually, I don't think that's the best hat in which to play pocket jacks.
Raise.
Daniel with a raise to 3,800.
Total bet.
Folded over to Kim Wuka, a pro from Osaka, Japan. Ace king off from the button. And she will shove all in for her last 29,300. Then the master gets out of the way. It's folded back over to Daniel Negreanu.
Hey, 29.3 total bet. Yeah.
It's for about 20% of Daniel's chips to call here.
Don't see me folding here. That would be I get really laughed at if I folded this hand.
Really?
Yeah, call.
Daniel will make the call to put Wuka at risk.
I have a pair.
29.3. Cool.
29.8. No, a little better than that. Whoa. Okay. I should have folded.
Way better. Thank you.
Oh well. I could win. It's possible.
Yeah.
If you win, I don't mind either. I don't mind. I don't really care that much. I made a mistake. You deserve it.
Daniel's ahead.
Yeah.
All right, Wuka at risk, and now Wuka ahead, hitting that ace.
Really?
Yeah. I should have let you have it. Oh!
Oh, Daniel hits another jack. Wuka drawing dead and eliminated.
Well, Daniel originally had sensed that she had a big hand, and the way he's playing here, he doesn't want to risk chips unless he thinks he's way ahead.
I don't see a mistake. I mean, you are a big stack, and it's probably she's sure,
Daniel, if I
and you know
call
it's
you,
gonna be a
very
flip, the
interesting
worst.
Why, she can't have kings?
Well,
I knew she didn't have ace 4.
So Daniel Negreanu, who was down below 10,000 chips early on day one, approaching 150,000 chips. Nearby, Todd Brunson is all in, and behind with his pocket tens, David Doherty with pocket jacks is poised to knock off the one-time bracelet winner. The board runs out all blanks for Todd, and he is gone.
One of the things I like about Todd Brunson, when he's done, he's done. He doesn't hang around.
So another one of the chip leaders, David Doherty, off to a good start on this night. Back to the feature table, the blinds are up to 1,000, 2,000, a 300 chip ante. Action folded over to Peter Gould, who made a World Series final table in 2008 with ace-6 of hearts. He makes a raise to 5,100.
Well, Peter Gould likes the weak ace.
Prosbonzi now with a suited jack-9 in the small blind.
I mentioned Bonzi used to be a recruitment consultant.
It's not Bacula.
If you have consultant in your job title line, you should find another job.
Bonzi facing a raise from Gould.
Raise.
Is going to re-raise it with his jack-9 to 14,200. In the big blind, Hugh Van Law with ace-queen of diamonds.
Ace-queen suited, 2 raises in front of you. It's the best hand. He should either shove or he should get out. I'd get out.
Yeah, and he has heard your ace-queen rants and folds, so the re-raise back to Peter Gould.
Didn't Peter Gould knock out Patrick Antonius on day 1 with ace-6? The man gets the most out of the weak ace.
He makes the call for 9,100 more, so jack-9 and ace-6 will go heads up. Meanwhile, the ace-queen of diamonds is in the muck. 4-4 jack, a pair of jacks for Bonzi to lead, and he'll bet at 12,500.
Well, Bonzi out-flopped Peter Gould, and in a perfect world, Gould now folds it.
Nobody said the world was perfect. He makes the call.
We live in a largely imperfect world, Lon, which is why you and I have jobs.
Turn card is a tray of spades. No help to Gould. Bonzi picks up a flush draw.
Bonzi, of course, still best with his pair of jacks.
Check. And he'll check it. Peter Gould now with his 5% hand. Well, he is reaching for chips. And he'll make it 28,000.
28,000.
I think Bonzi is confounded. He can't quite put Peter Gould on a hand. I can't either, and I can see Peter's cards.
28, yeah?
28.
And 28 is the call. Peter Gould wondering, why did he call? River card, deuce of diamonds, Bonzi's jacks up or best. And he checks again.
Well, it looks like Peter Gould will bluff at it again. It's the only way he can win this hand unless Praz is thrown out of the casino for wearing an earring.
48,000 from Peter Gould. Bonzi with jacks up. And reluctantly makes the call.
Huh?
Ace.
An ace.
Ace.
You've got an ace?
Yeah.
I got better than that.
Well, the jack beats the ace because there's also a jack on the board. I can figure that out.
Bonzi never looked too comfortable in that hand, but he's pulling in another nice pot and moving in the right direction on day 3.
Hit that flop then.
Huh?
You hit the flop.
Yeah.
Nice turn for him as well.
Bonzi plays the hand well and gets value on all 3 streets. A good start for all of our chip leaders. Coverage of the World Series of Poker Europe is brought to you by WSOP.com. Anyone can play and anyone can win. Learn how to qualify for the 2010 World Series of Poker at WSOP.com. Back for day 3 coverage of the World Series of Poker Europe main event. A look across Leicester Square as we head back inside the casino at the Empire. American pro Antonio Esfandiari just re-raised Steve Fung pre-flop. Antonio with ace-king of spades holds pocket tens. Fung needed $15,000 to call, but he re-raises to $60,500.
Fung, an aggressive 23-year-old semi-pro from Los Angeles. Antonio with ace-king in the small blind. Fung with the pocket tens on the button.
Antonio and Fung starting to build a big pot.
Antonio with about 50 big blinds to start this hand. He's still reasonably deep stacked.
All in.
He shoves all in. Back to Fung now, who makes the call to put Antonio Esfandiari at risk.
Usually the first guy who takes his earpiece out is behind, but Fung is ahead, and Antonio is in trouble.
Almost $215,000 in the pot. Pocket tens for Fung against the ace-king of spades for Esfandiari. No ace, no king, 1 spade. Esfandiari is losing this race.
Antonio has 1 World Series bracelet, 1 WPT title, and 1 foot out the door here.
Yep, the 8 does not help.
Antonio's going to need an ace or a king to stick around.
The river card is a 7, and that will do it. Esfandiari knocked out of this World Series of Poker Europe main event.
Fung enjoys his newfound chips, and Antonio efficiently all packed up by the time that hand ended.
He let it ride with ace-king, and now he's the one looking for a ride home. So with that knockout, Steve Fung moves up the leaderboard into 3rd place. Munz and Bonzi still with a lock on the top 2 spots. Players are busting out, taking shots, and now we're down to just 67 remaining. We'll be playing this session down to 36. Back to the featured table where Doyle Brunson has taken one of the empty seats. Texas Dolly just hanging in there with about 49,000 chips.
Doyle's not feeling that well here. He somehow hurt his left hip and left knee recently, plus his right leg always gives him trouble.
Our chip leader, Ian Munz, with King 10 offsuit, an early position.
Munz playing a lot of pots, feeling good.
Raises to 5,500. Action over to Hugh Van La with ace-king off. And he makes the call.
He's relatively short-stacked. La looks like he'd like to see the flop cheaply before making a bigger commitment.
Over to Doyle Brunson, who looks down at 1 ace.
Doyle likes to play 1-card poker. He's in the big blind.
This is mine, right?
It's indeed. It's indeed.
It's 35 more.
Doyle putting some chips together, and he'll re-raise to 17,500.
Well, I hope he actually looked at both of his cards before re-raising that much.
Ian Munz will make the call for 12,000 more.
Boy, Munz barely blinked an eye before calling with King 10 off.
La with ace-king will come along as well.
Again, calling off a few more chips. Wants to see a flop. Doesn't want to commit too much.
So 3 players. Is Doyle going to look at both of them?
3 players.
Yes, he is. Oh, and pocket aces.
What a life.
There's the flop. 8, deuce, 5. A tremendous flop for Doyle and his aces. Brunson first to act, puts in 3 pink chips. That's 15,000.
And you see Munz with the 1% hand now. I don't know what he's thinking about. Maybe his next outing to the weight room.
He'll have time to think as he does fold, and Van La will make the call with his ace-king.
That's a less than 1% hand. And maybe he thinks his ace-king is good.
So heads up to the turn, 6 of diamonds. Law now drawing dead, and Doyle shoving all in.
For 22,000. If Law calls here, having missed the flop, missed the turn, and drawn dead, I will climb Big Ben and stop the clock with my big right toe line.
Oh, I can't wait.
Well, when he folds here, he'll still have about 20 big blinds left. I don't see how he can call. He'd be calling off half his stack.
And he does put the ladders on Big Ben. Here comes Norman, Chad, as Law is drawing dead and doubles up Doyle Brunson.
I'm going to need a big ladder line. Boy, can you believe that?
So a gift to Doyle Brunson just when he needed it most.
An extra 22,000 chip gift for Doyle. Doyle had one pair, and with one card to come, his opponent was drawn dead.
They all want to beat Doyle Brunson.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what now.
That's all they want.
It is tough to beat Texas Dolly. He's up to 130,000 chips now. Upstairs, we find defending champ John Jawanda, who just raised all in for his last 22,000. Jawanda just looked at one card, the ace of clubs.
Jawanda playing one card poker all in.
He'll go up against Matt Harolinko, who called with pocket sevens. The 27-year-old will try to knock off the defending champ. John's going to look at both cards now. Ace, king of clubs. He's got a shot.
Not bad for the defending champ. Those are fighting cards.
You play a 7, and that makes me a small favorite.
All right, here we go to the flop. Jawanda at risk. 6, 5, deuce, no ace, no king. Jawanda with 2 shots left. Turn card is a tray. That's 4 cards to a straight on board.
But if a straight comes on the board, it would be no good for Jawanda. Harolinko would make a higher straight.
The river card now. Jawanda looking for an ace or a king. It is a deuce, and that's going to do it. The defending champ knocked off by 27-year-old Matt Harolinko.
Nah, he was a one-year wonder, Lon. We won't see the likes of him again.
John Jawanda lasted into day 3, but is eliminated. Matt Harolinko moving up the leaderboard with the last of Jawanda's chips, and there'll be no back-to-back champion this year. Welcome back to London. Just steps from the casino. Plenty of places to satisfy your hunger, including this local shawarma eatery. The city, very well known for its food, is becoming more and more known for its poker.
I don't know about the food here, Lon. I'd rather be in Paris.
To an outer table heads-up action after the flop. Amnon Filippi leads with ace-king to David Doherty's ace-queen, each with a gut-shot straight draw to the ace. Doherty's parents looking on anxiously.
Filippi at 40, nearly twice as old as Doherty.
They both check. Turn card now is a king. Wow, what a card. Doherty hits his straight. Filippi pairs his king. Doherty checks.
KG, 22-year-old. You can't trust these kids anymore, Lon. And Amnon with top pair, top kicker now looks ready to step into the trap.
And he does bet 26,000 with his 2 kings. So tough for parents to look on as their son plays against some of the best in the world. And Doherty, showing some aggression, announces raise. He puts in the amount to call. And then he raises 40,000 more.
Boy, the kid first, he scrunches his face, then he takes his time and check raises. I'd be suspicious if I were Amnon Filippi. And pre-flop, Doherty had raised that he called Filippi's re-raise, so Amnon knows that he could have ace-queen suited, or maybe even pocket jacks or pocket tens.
Tough decision for Amnon Filippi. But he folds.
King is good, I guess.
Well, Devilfish called it, and that's a win for David Doherty. David's dad enjoying that as Doherty continues to chip up, but as you'll hear, it's David's mom's presence that is making this event special.
My dad's been all over with me. He's been to Vegas and Australia also, and he's loved those trips, but particularly my mum. She's got health problems, which means that she can't fly long hauls, so basically the only tournaments that she can attend are in the UK, Ireland, near Europe. But I think she's loving this one. You know, I've had 2 great days. I've knocked out a few very good players, a few exciting pots, and hopefully more to come. The World Series, it's almost a cliche, but it would be mind-blowing to make a final table of this size of event. And I'm sure for my parents as well. You know, I guess it's always difficult if you're a young poker player just starting out in something like this. From that perspective, to be able to make a final table and, kind of have something concrete to say, yeah, I'm successful at this is what I can do now. And yeah, obviously the money and the bracelet involved as well, that would be life-changing.
David says he gets carded every time he walks into a casino. I certainly wouldn't let him into my home unless accompanied by an adult.
All right, let's get back to table 2, which includes a couple of strong pros, Daniel Negreanu and Min the Master win.
Daniel Negreanu won his first bracelet when he was 23. David Doherty here with a shot to get one at age 22.
Christian Cruel, a pro from Rio de Janeiro with ace queen of hearts, raises to 6,500.
Daniel, in fact, won his first bracelet in the very first World Series event he played in 1998.
Daniel with the suited king jack on the button makes the call for 6,500.
Okay, your shirt needs ironing, the hair needs combing, and you've got 9-3. What do you do?
Keith Hawkins lays it down.
Thank you.
So Negreanu and Cruel heads up. And here we go to the flop. 10-4 ace. Cruel with top pair. Negreanu with a gut shot straight draw.
Cruel, another of many backgammon players who have switched to poker.
Bets 10,200.
Daniel used to shoot pool a lot before his poker days.
He makes the call. These two started the hand with almost identical chip stacks. Turn card is a jack. That pairs Daniel, but he still trails the two aces of Cruel. Cruel picks up a straight draw himself.
By the way, Lon, Daniel is 35. How much longer is he allowed to be called Kid Poker?
I was wondering that myself. Cruel checked. Daniel likes his pair of jacks, bets 16,200, little less than half the pot, and Cruel immediately calls with his aces.
And Cruel in great shape.
And there's another jack. Negreanu's trips give him the best hand.
See, if you live right, eat right, and treat people right, I think you run better than the next guy. Daniel was behind every step of the way and got lucky on the river.
Cruel checked that river. Daniel now bets about half the pot, 36,600.
And Daniel hoping he can get paid off. Cruel with aces up and a queen kicker. Tough to get away from.
But he does lay it down. And Daniel will take that pot.
Feels so bad, man.
It's like fours.
You had me beat?
Yeah, I had you beat. You had ace king, right? No?
No. Really, no.
What do
you have?
I had you beat.
I trust.
A perfect turn and river. Keep Daniel heading in the right direction. Slow, steady progress suits him just fine. Welcome back for more Day 3 action from the World Series of Poker Europe main event.
I apologize.
This is one of the toughest tournament fields you'll find, and yet an amateur who's at this table, Ian Munns, still near the chip lead. That's poker.
Prozbanzi gives it up. One of his hit squad buddies, Karl Marenholtz, folds. Steve Zolotow says no thanks. On November, Niner Antoine Saout with Queen 10 offsuit.
And as you've mentioned before, he's only been playing poker a couple of years, yet made the November 9. That's poker.
He raises to 7,100. Tommy Pavlicek, poker pro from Edmonton, with 10-8 off.
He's in the cutoff with nothing but bad thoughts.
Saout raised with nothing, and now Pavlicek comes over the top with a raise to 21,005.
That is a bit feisty.
Doyle Brunson says no thanks from the button to the suited king. Peter Gould in the small blind.
You know, I think I saw Peter Gould at Woodstock.
Peter Gould has seen a lot of action before it got to him.
Oh, you know he wants to play.
But he will lay it down to Ian Munns with a weak ace. He'll lay it down. So the re-raise back to Antoine Saout, and he will immediately commit the chips to call.
It'll be the battle of the standard issue iPod headphones.
Here we go to the flop. It is 6-king tray that misses both. Saout leads with just queen high.
Two raggedy hands and a raggedy flop.
Saout neatly puts together 28-5. Back to Pavlicek now.
Remember, the first guy who takes his earpiece out usually has the inferior hand. But this Pavlicek, I believe, has a plan. And I believe his plan is to raise Saout and conquer the poker world one bluff at a time.
All right, let's see what this Canadian pro wants to do. He is going to raise it to 60,000.
Boy, these young whippersnappers have a lot of snap in their whip. And now, if Saout comes back over the top here, I'm moving to France and marrying him.
I agree here. I don't know how Saout can stick around. Saout trying to get some kind of read. And he will fold.
Antoine doesn't have a hand, and he doesn't have the stomach for it.
Well done by Tommy Pavlicek.
Just look at those two guys. A couple of clean-cut 20-somethings trying to rob each other.
And Pavlicek came out on top there. All right, let's go upstairs here at the casino at the Empire. 2007 champ Annette Oberstadt has shoved with Queen Jack offsuit from the button. Action is to Eric Liu, the original raiser with ace king off. He needs 52,700 to call. And Liu will make the call to put Annette at risk.
So Annette will be almost a 2-to-1 underdog for her tournament life against Eric Liu.
Well wishing from Eric Liu to the 2007 champ. Here's the flop. It is 5 tray 9. Liu ahead with his ace high.
Not a good flop for Annette.
Turn card is an ace, and Eric Liu's pair of aces will win the hand. Annette drawing dead and eliminated.
1 year you're the queen, another year you're just a young lady with a scarf.
The youngest World Series bracelet winner is out, but now that she's 21, her next World Series appearance will be at the Rio and Las Vegas for the 2010 festivities. Back at the casino at the Empire in London, players dropping out quickly here on day 3. The beneficiaries, Stephen Fung, Praz Bonzi, and babyface Yevgeny Timoshenko. Just 47 players left, 11 away from the money bubble.
Timoshenko, another young gun who burst onto the poker scene in the last year or so with great results.
The 3 top stacks seated at the same table, 2 of them jousting right now. Fung re-raised with a small unsuited ace. Timoshenko called with ace-king off, heads up to the flop. The flop is queen 10, 5, ace-king, still best for Timoshenko, and he picked up a straight draw.
Timoshenko checks. Timoshenko won the 2009 WPT Championship worth $2.15 million.
Fung bet slightly more than half the pot, 26,000. Timoshenko with his ace-king will make the call. Turn card now. King of hearts, a pair of kings for Timoshenko. Fung with a flush draw, both players with the same straight draw.
Fung can only make the best hand if he hits his flush. We have seen Stephen Fung with a nasty aggressive streak.
Timoshenko checked again, and now 46,000 from Fung.
Timoshenko with a pair of kings, a straight draw, and some good instincts.
Fung remaining aggressive against an aggressive player. Timoshenko again with the call. River card now is another red 10, so Timoshenko's best with his kings and the 10s.
Fung has fired out on every street. Does he have one more bluff bullet in his chamber?
A third time we saw Timoshenko check. And now a third time Steve Fung bets, this time 99,000.
He bet half the pot. And Timoshenko had that look that he's either up against a monster or a monster bluff. Another duel of sharp young minds. Fung 23, Timoshenko just 21. Timoshenko on the fence.
We show Tony Cousineau and just have like kings full here.
Does he believe Fung's story? Fung is representing a powerhouse hand.
He sold it every street along the way. Timoshenko lays it down, and Fung's bluff works to perfection.
Show for show? It might be on TV.
I mean, I'll show you later.
I'll show you later? Is he going to buy a deck of cards at the gift shop and recreate the hand? Cool.
Fung wore down Timoshenko from his pre-flop re-raise to the river bluff, and Steve Fung separates himself further from the field. Fung with over 700,000 chips now. Let's get back to the feature table where we have a new cast, and it includes Eric Liu.
He attended Duke. You got to give the Blue Devils their due.
Devilfish Oliot.
You got to give Devilfish his due.
Also another Brit, James Aikenhead.
He used to be a devil of a train driver.
And an amateur, Sandor Demjan.
A real estate tycoon in Hungary. I'm sure he's a real angel.
And he folds his 7-5. Devilfish with pocket nines.
Devilfish won a bracelet in 1997, and since then I think he considers himself the best player in the world.
He makes a raise to 9,000, induces a number of folds behind him. James Aikenhead with 4 deuce, and a re-raise from the small blind to 29,500.
Brave new world, Lon. A re-raise from the small blind with 4 deuce off.
Putting the heat to his fellow countryman, Devilfish makes the call with his 2 9s, and they'll go heads up.
Since Devilfish won his bracelet, he has 4 second-place finishes at World Series events, so he's got some skills to go with his ego.
7, Jack Queen. That misses both. Devilfish way ahead with the 2 9s. Aikenhead first to act.
Out of position, missing the flop, and it appears Aikenhead will continue to posture.
He is on a mission, 57,500.
And with 2 over cards on the board, Devilfish gives it up without much resistance. And in the Battle of Britain of past and present, the young gun wins.
If you had a big pair, that was unlucky, bro. If it comes a low flop, I'm going to stick it in. You hear what I said? I said if you had a big pair, it was unlucky. If it came a low flop, I was going to stick it in.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because Devilfish actually got lucky there, because if it came a very low flop, he might have been dead.
So James Aikenhead stacking the chips of Devilfish. To the action upstairs with pocket kings. Ian Munns bet 32,000 on a deuce-deuce jack flop with 2 hearts. Praz Bonzi has the nut flush draw.
2 of our chip leaders at the start of day 3.
And he will make the call. Turn card now. 5 of hearts. Bonzi hits his flush. Munns the one now looking for help.
British poker really on the uptick. We just saw Devilfish and Aikenhead, and here you've got the bracelet winner Bonzi and the amateur Munns.
And with that 3rd heart on board, Munns now checks. Bonzi with the nut flush. And he'll bet 40,000.
I don't think Bonzi is too concerned about the paired board. He knows his nut flush is good.
Less than half the pot. How will Munns interpret that bet? He makes the call. Munns a long shot going to the river. It is an 8 of spades. The flush for Bonzi is best. Munns checks again. He's got 2 pair.
Bonzi wants to get paid off here. I'd bet, 2/3 of the pot, about 120,000, and Munns might call him.
110.
Bonzi puts 110,000 together with that flush.
110? I think he meant to bet 2/3 of the pot, and his math's a little off. Cool.
Munns does make the call. Bonzi shows his ace 9 of hearts. And Munns will give up a good portion of his stack to Praz Bonzi.
The pro gets the better of the amateur. And the amateur now finally running a little low on fuel.
Munns may be beginning to unravel as Bonzi continues to make his mark here on day 3, raking in the biggest pot of the tournament so far. Welcome back to day 3 of the World Series of Poker Europe main event. Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad. The players inside the casino at the Empire fighting for a World Series bracelet. 41 players remain of the original 334. The minimum payout is just over 21,000 pounds, over 800,000 to the winner. 37th place gets nothing. With the bubble fast approaching, Daniel Negreanu talked with Kara Scott.
One of the particular situations in a poker tournament is the bubble. Obviously, that's going to take a certain different kind of play. What would you be suggesting for people right about now?
It depends on your stack size, really. If you are one of the bigger stacks and you're at a table where everyone's kind of squeak in, there's a lot of free chips that should be out there. But you don't want to take it too far because then you just, jeopardize your own comfortable situation. If you're one of the shorter stacks, it really comes down to how much you need the money. If you want to make money in tournament poker, you have to not care about the bubble. You have to make the right decision and go for it. If you're just like, a recreational player who wants to brag to your family and friends, then just sit there and fold. Don't even look. Leave. Go have a coffee and hope that you just make it in.
In a tournament like this, with the kind of field that we've got at the moment, though, are you expecting to see people maybe tightening up or not so much? Because we've got a lot of professional poker players here. They've done this before.
Yeah, this isn't a typical tournament where you've got like that bubble frenzy where you're like, let's take care of all these amateurs. This is highly concentrated pro field. Like my table, I'm looking around. None of these guys care that much about 36th. Most of these guys are here to make the final table and go on to win.
Lon, I'm happy to make 36th in the tournament, even if it starts with 37.
To one man at our featured table who made the money bubble and the final table at the 2009 main event, James Aikenhead. He finished 9th there with ace deuce of clubs, a raise to 8,200.
From under the gun, and it looks like Aikenhead trying to pressure the bubble.
Aikenhead, a former professional 9-ball player. With pocket sixes, Devilfish Oliot makes the call. 7 deuce for Andre Akari, and he lays it down. There is Ram Vaswani.
Vaswani, the youngest member of the Hendon mob.
10-5 off in the big blind, and he will make the call.
So we've got a Hendon mob guy, a hit squad guy, and Devilfish, who goes alone.
Here's the flop. Tray 5-4. Aikenhead flops a wheel. Devilfish with an up and down straight draw to a better straight. Vaswani third best with a pair of 5s, and he checks.
Aikenhead is not going to slow play the wheel, particularly with 2 hearts on that board.
James puts together 22,500 with a straight.
22,500.
Devilfish has to love that flop.
And he moves all in with his overpair and straight draw, over 153,000.
Well, that's all out of Vaswani's league.
And Aikenhead makes the call, and he will try to knock out Devilfish Uliet.
Devilfish not dead. A deuce or a 7 makes him a better straight, or he still could get runner for a full house or quads.
Sam about $1 million. I played with ace-5 of clubs last time. And he plays with ace-deuce of clubs and flops the wheel. Wow.
Turn card now is a 9 of clubs, no help to Devilfish.
You don't have to worry, kid. You don't make the final at the main event. I said you don't make the final at the main event unless you catch flops like that on the stand-up. Don't worry about it.
And dodge rivers like this.
What?
And dodge rivers.
The river card now. Oh, he couldn't dodge the 7.
Oh, baby.
Uliet spikes the winner with a higher straight.
Wow.
Well, if he had lost that pot, we'd be seeing a different Devilfish. That's a big pot, 335,000, stolen away by Devilfish on the river.
400K pot. 350 something.
Devilfish Uliet was 1 card from the exit, but very much alive. All right, let's go upstairs. 2 players about to see a flop. Poker pro Liz Liu with pocket 8s leads the pocket 4s of retired soccer superstar Teddy Sheringham, 34,000 in the pot. Here's the flop, King 4-5, a set of 4s for Sheringham to take control.
Sheringham retired from soccer after the 07-08 season. He was a great striker.
Played until he was 41 years old. He bets 14,000. Liu with her pocket 8s makes the call.
She figures she's okay if Sheringham doesn't have a king.
River card is another king. Sheringham still way ahead now with 4s full.
Sheringham was appointed as a member of the Order of the British Empire in 2007. I have premier executive status at United's Mileage Plus program.
Sheringham with his full house bets 22,000.
About 1/3 of the pot.
Liz Liu now. Raises Teddy all in. And he calls immediately.
Now, Lou didn't believe him. And now Liz is going to need a king or an 8 to knock out Teddy.
The river card is a deuce, and Teddy Sheringham will double up to 218,000.
Sheringham does what a striker does.
After a very fortunate flop, one of the most popular sports stars in England is showing that he can play a little poker too. All right, let's get back to the featured table. Sandor Demjan opened raised to 12,000 with Queen Jack. Devilfish Uliet with yet another pocket pair, this time 4s. Called, they'll see a flop. And while Liz Liu was losing her pot, Devilfish lost an even bigger pot, wiping out a lot of his earlier gains. The flop, ace, king, king. Uliet still leads. Demjan picked up a straight draw. And he checks.
Demjan runs a company that's one of the largest property developers in Europe. Devilfish runs himself.
Devilfish, with his 4s, bets 18,000.
He's got the right idea here, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to shake the amateur. Demjan is the wealthiest man in Hungary.
Go figure. He makes the call. Turn card is a jack. Demjan takes the lead with a pair of jacks. And he checks again. And Devilfish checks behind him. River card now is another ace, so Demjan is best with his queen kicker, aces and kings on the board. And he checks. Now Devilfish putting some chips together. Bets 43,000.
He bets 60% of the pot and a big part of his remaining stack.
I call.
Dimjan quickly calls, and he will shrink Devilfish's stack even further.
Joke this game is, huh? Wow. What a joke this game is. Just give him the money, buddy. Don't count it, just give him it.
This is the other devilfish of which I was speaking.
I don't think he can beat aces and kings with a jack, you know. I don't think he can beat that unless he's got a queen in his hand. I'm unlucky to catch a queen, huh? Wow. This is cool or what, Rambo, huh? I bet the turn is give him the jack. Joke or what, huh? Joke or what?
I wouldn't call Devilfish an ambassador of poker in the same way that, say, Mike Sexton is.
You see that? It says king, king, jack. He's checked it all the way, so he can only beat me with the queen now. Ace come at the end. Ace is king, king, jack. So he can only beat me if he's got a queen in his hand. I know he ain't got none.
I'm not sure Devilfish's nieces appreciate a good bad beat story.
It's sick, huh? How sick is that, man, boy? That's so sick.
So sick. So sick, Norman.
Yeah, sick.
Coverage of the World Series of Poker Europe is brought to you by WSOP Hold'em Legend. Get the new game to play against your friends anytime, anywhere. Now on iPhone and iPod Touch. For more information, visit WSOPmobile.com. Back at the casino at the Empire, it began to brew earlier, and now the story has come to a head. Day 3 chip leader Ian Munns has been eliminated. Over $500,000 to start the night, and now gone, and not a shilling to show for his efforts. Back to the featured table, pocket kings for Eric Liu.
Liu, an online poker instructor. He made the final table at a European Poker Tour event here in London in 2008.
Under the gun, he raises to $12,500, 2.5 times the big blind.
We are on the money bubble. And sometimes it's better to pick up hands like 6 tray or 7 deuce and just stay out of harm's way.
So with one more elimination, the remaining field will be in the money. Devilfish lays down queen 10. Andre Akari with 8-7 off into the muck. Ram Vaswani now with pocket aces.
Vaswani with less than half the chips of Liu. Aces and kings gonna butt heads.
And he will raise to $40,000. He's nicknamed Crazy Horse, but he's doing the right thing here, sending a message to Eric Liu.
You may recall on day 2, we saw pocket kings mucked pre-flop. Correctly, I may add. I don't think Eric Liu is going to go anywhere here.
All in.
He says all in, and that would put Vaswani all in.
So, all in. Cool.
And he does, of course, make the call.
With pocket aces, Vaswani primed for a big double-up, but if a king comes, he is the bubble boy.
And now the flop. Aces against kings. 10, jack, 5. Vaswani's aces are still best.
Eric Liu started this hand with 400,000 chips. He'd be down to about 240,000 if he loses here.
Turn card now is a queen, and that gives Liu a new group of outs with the straight draw.
Liu no longer wants a king. That makes Vaswani a straight. An ace or a 9 now would knock out Vaswani.
The river card is another 5, and Ram Vaswani, with his aces and 5s, will double up. So the money bubble is not burst yet. A big win for Vaswani.
Unlucky, bro. It's a sick game.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? You take the hit like a man, and you take a sip of water.
Nice hand.
Eric Liu just made Vaswani a little richer. All right, so a crowd looking on as 07 runner-up in this event, John Tabatabai, is holding aces, and he just raised to $12,000 pre-flop. Action on Peter Gould with pocket 7s.
I like him a lot, but Peter Gould always looks to me like he's about to do something wrong.
Well, if he plays his hand, I think he'd be doing just that. And with the pocket pair, Gould will make a raise to $35,000. Maybe trying to take advantage of the bubble.
All in.
Tabatabai moves all in. Gould makes the call.
Gould will put Tabatabai at risk. The hand pretty much played itself. If Tabatabai gets unlucky, and people have gone unlucky against Peter Gould before, he will be our bubble boy.
The 2007 runner-up trying to double up and stay alive. And now the flop, and there's a 7 for Gould to hit his set.
And Tabatabai about to be bubbled.
He's a big underdog to stick around. The 9 on the turn puts a straight draw on the board.
If an 8 comes on the river, they would chop the pot, both with a straight. Tabatabai needs an ace to take it all, otherwise he's gone.
And now the river card. Will the bubble burst? It's a 10, and that's going to do it. Tabatabai is out. He is the bubble boy. Everyone else is in the money. The 07 runner-up goes out in 37th this year.
That's it, guys. We're all in the money, I guess.
Nice.
So Devilfish makes the money just barely. Some familiar names at the top, including Pros Bonzi. Matt Haralenko made a late charge and ends the day as the chip leader. And now Kara Scott is with the Bubble Boy.
I mean, it's kind of ironic, I guess, because 2 years ago, I took out the guy who came on the bubble. And this year it happened to me, but, well, it just goes to show you can't just wait for aces, you know? Because poker has so much luck, so whatever. What can you do? Just next tournament, I guess I'll come back and do my best and hopefully, you know, win something.
Day 3 was fast-paced from the start as big names busted out in furious fashion. In a shocker, Ian Munns went from chip leader to out in the course of just one night. While former champs John Juanda and Annette Overstad met the same fate, Tabatabai was the bubble boy and Devilfish was just Devilfish.
So sick, huh?
I get really laughed at if I folded this hand. They all want to beat Doyle Brunson.
Yeah, it's good to be Doyle, and it's good to be in contention. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. More to come from London.